Hello, families. It's been a while since we've shared a discipleship moment, but after a discussion we had in our home yesterday and today, I thought it was fitting to share this discipleship moment with you all. I know you have your own discipleship moments that occur from time to time with your children in your home. So this is one that I would like to share. Yesterday, during our breakfast and Bible time as a family, we talked about Joseph and his life. And it was a really great discussion, and I love talking about Joseph, his story, and his life, and what happened throughout his life. And today, my daughter decided she wanted to read some more about Joseph's life. So by the time I got up this morning, she had already read more about Joseph's life and wanted to share more about his life. And that led to a really rich discussion, or a great discussion, just about our gifts and gifts that God has given to us. And so I asked her really two questions. One, as you read this story about Joseph, and you read these chapters in Genesis, what do you learn about Joseph, or what are some things you see about Joseph, and what are some things you see about God in these verses? And so part of our conversation really, like I said, talked about gifts that God has given us. And so three things that I'm going to share with you really quickly that I shared with her was first and foremost that we have been given a gift that's already on the inside of us. And that's the same for our children, right? To know that God has given them a gift. It's already on the inside of them. It is by design. It's how God designed them, how God designed each and every one of us. And we see in Ephesians 2:10, it says, "For we are God's masterpiece. He created us anew in Christ Jesus so we can do the good things he planned for us long ago." So those good things are already on the inside of us. They've already been there. He planned them for us long ago. And so we see this in the life of Jesus, right? He always had these dreams. He wasn't quite sure what to do with them, maybe. And so he shared them with his brothers. He shared them with his father. But they didn't quite know what to do with his dreams either. His brothers were jealous. His father was just wondering what these dreams meant. But they didn't at the time really know what to do with the gift. Neither did Joseph really at that time. But still, there was a gift. It was already on the inside of him. So that was the first thing that we talked about. We have a gift. It's already on the inside of us. And then the second thing we talked about was we need time for that gift to grow and mature in us, right? And that's very true for our children, of course, as well as it is true for us. That gift that's already on the inside of us, it needs time to grow and mature. It's just like fruit. Fruit before it is ripe is not as soft as it should be. It's not as sweet as it should be. Sometimes it doesn't have its intended color just yet. Think about, that green banana in the store. You don't want to eat that one just yet. It's not really ripe yet. Or I think about a mango. I bought a mango that wasn't quite ripe, and it wasn't sweet, and it definitely wasn't soft. I could barely cut it. So there's a growing and a maturing that happens even with the gifts that are on the inside of us. And one thing that I thought was interesting as I was looking up just about fruit, ripening. I read something that said that most growing fruits initially provide protection to the developing seeds. So even just seeing that, hey, that gift is like the seed on the inside, and God is doing some things on the inside, even just protecting that gift as he grows it and as he cultivates it. And so we see, with Joseph, for earlier on in Genesis 37, he's sharing his dreams with his brothers and his father, but later, when he meets the cupbearer and the baker, when he's imprisoned, he says to them, interpreting dreams is God's business, right? He has an understanding. He's matured a little bit in his understanding, and even of, how this gift is used, and knowing that it is given to him from God. And he said, this is God's business of interpreting dreams. And even when he went before Pharaoh, he says something similar to Pharaoh. It is beyond my power to do this. He said, but God can tell you what it means and set you at ease. So again, he's sharing now that he's matured in this gift, and have a little bit more understanding about it. He's able to share, this is God. This is God working in me. This is God who interprets dreams. So by all means, share. That's what he said. And then the third thing we talked about is just really understanding that when we think about this gift that God has placed on the inside of us, it is truly His doing. It's by Him, it's through Him, it's for Him, and it's for the kingdom. So it originated with Him, and by His generosity, He put this gift on the inside of us. And even as we just saw with Joseph, how that gift is used, it is through him, right? Just as Joseph said, interpreting dreams is God's business, right? I can interpret only, what God shares, what God gives me, right? And it's also for him, for his glory, and for the kingdom. So this gift not only benefits the person who has the gift, but also many others around him. And it reminds me of Proverbs 18:16 as another verse we ended up jumping to this morning. And it says, a gift opens the door and helps the giver meet important people. And just to see how, Joseph had this gift, and this gift brought him before Pharaoh, who was a very important person, right, at that time. It brought him before Pharaoh. And so at that time, Joseph was able to be right where God needed him at that time, and to be able to preserve his people, right? And Joseph even says this to his brothers in Genesis 45. He tells them, don't be upset, don't be angry, for what you did. He said in verse 5, it was God who sent me here ahead of you to preserve your lives, right? So he has this understanding. This was God's doing, right? God needed me to be before, Pharaoh, to be in this place, to be in this position to preserve your lives. And then further in verse 7, he said, God has sent me ahead of you to keep you and your families alive and to preserve many survivors. And then in verse 8, so it was God who sent me here, not you. And he is the one who made me an advisor to Pharaoh, the manager of his entire palace, and the governor of all Egypt. So he, again, this Joseph, who has matured in his gift, right? He understands that this is all God's doing. It's by him, it's through him, it's for him, but it's also for the kingdom. And in this case, it's truly an opportunity to preserve the kingdom, preserve this family and many other survivors. So when we think about our children, even thinking about ourselves, knowing that we each have a gift, our children have a gift, it's already on the inside of them, but it might just need some time to grow and mature, and that's okay. God might help us. We might be partnering with God, if you will, to do some of that protecting of the seed, right, as it grows and as it's nurtured. But really, it needs some time, right, to grow and mature, where our children are able to, and even for us, are able to use that gift in the way that God intends, and knowing that that gift is not our own just for our consumption or anything like that for us to use as we will, but it is by God, it is through him, it is for him, and it is for the kingdom. If you want to check out more about this idea of gifts, and especially the gifts that God has given to our children, please check out our 3-part Strengths Finder series on our YouTube channel, where we talk a little bit more about our children's strengths or their God gifts and how we can nurture them. Be blessed, and see you all next time.